throwing out basically the difference between 2020 and 2021 because of supply chain issues and those kind of things. Once that gets righted, and then a question of, and a very strong possibility of, flooding the market with goods as as the Chinese will try to make up for funds that they're losing as manufacturing is leaving, and it has been over the last 2 years, but it accelerated during COVID. That they're going to flood the market with
Remember,
goods, causing
deflationary
pressure
they should,
next year,
they're
which
hearing,
will affect how the Fed will have to make decisions and will totally upend everything that everybody's saying right now. Because you can't, something as big as the economy can't wrench left and right. It can't just, keeping it steady is a very difficult job. And if it leaps one direction or the other, overcorrection is a very dangerous thing. And that's the concern. So Market Watch put out this tweet this morning that said average Americans are paying as much, and by the way, average versus median in incomes, that they don't choose those words accidentally. Median income Americans are, blah, 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 is totally different than average Americans, and understand, mathematically speaking, are paying as much as $100 to $200 for a single concert ticket, $90 for a bottle of wine, and $5 a gallon for gas. And my response was, boy, as much as is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this sentence.
As much
and that's where we are right now with the narrative. Why
it is always this conservative narrative that keeps going on.
Where they are. Right. Is it because of reality? Or is it because of media narrative? Is it because, well, we'll talk about it when we come back. And will it matter at Christmas? Is Biden smiling all the time because he's seen these cars come around the track before? We'll be back.
Cool. Okay.
And then we're gonna get into the. we'll do the. Yeah. There's two good things to come out. One is this article about how the Dems, especially Pelosi, are negotiating on the Build Back Better plan and the infrastructure bill and the rescue package. That's different than how they negotiated previously, during the ACA, for example, because of Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden learned the lesson of, that everybody's like, you guys got to stop asking for what you need. You need to ask for what you want so you can get what you need. Now you're asking for what you need and you're getting less than what you need. Right? And
that's negotiations.
Right. Well, apparently that lesson has been learned.
He needs the art of the deal. He needs the art of the deal, remember? Because remember, Trump was supposed to have the art of the deal, the ability to do all this.
With Manchin and Sinema signing on.
And like $1 trillion bill, where are you going to cash that? I've had $1 trillion bill in my wallet.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And no one will take it.
Yeah, try using it in a cab. You get
right.
Yeah. You'll get sworn at in Hungarian.
I went to a Papa John's. And the guy in front of me, I went to pick up a pizza from a Papa John's, and the guy in front of me was buying pizza with $100 bill, and the cashier was apoplectic. He was doing everything he could to act like it wasn't a big deal, but he kept going into the secret cabinets underneath the underneath the counter. Yeah, and he was making all this change and. It took fucking ever.
I think they should have a one of those singles guns, the Make It Rain guns. You ever seen those?
Oh, that'd be amazing. Here you go.
They should have those.
Just you time it. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Just so anybody who comes in and pays for something at Walgreens or something with $100 bill, they could just go and just fire ones in their face.
You're just getting $82 back. I said, dude,
what are you doing? Why do people
break
do that?
Your $100? $82.
They could just go and just fire ones in their face.
You're just getting $82 back. I said, dude, is this the place to break your 100? I'm and he was, he looked like he was probably a contractor or something.
Yeah, totally. Under the table.
Yeah.
Attention. Stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the Hal Sparks radio program.
I will admit, yes, I got the most $100 bills when I was doing.
We went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
But most of that was also
at nightclubs and bars. Let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So that makes a huge difference.
I am Pollyanna-ish. I am an incurable optimist. I am one of these people, maybe because you remember John, I call the 90s the Sisyphus years. And you remember the day that I packed all my stuff in my car 16 days after I graduated from New Trier and drove to Los Angeles to see my dreams through.
Yeah, I went out to your first apartment.
Yeah.
I had sushi out there.
That's right.
For the first time ever.
Oh my God.
We recorded a song together too, actually.
We did.
At Haim Saban's office, where he had a music studio attached to it, where he allowed us to use the space after Haim Saban, if you don't know, owns Power Rangers and now is one of the wealthiest people in the world. And famously,
every time I see Saban on anything like some anime thing, I'm like, oh my God, there he is.
We knew that dude when he had a 3-door strip mall office.
Yeah.
For real. I rehearsed Treasure Mall in the empty storefront next door. So, and
your fans have like your diehards. Is there a place for them to see Treasure Mall on YouTube or something?
There's one episode somebody has posted, and I have in Deep Sixth, I have the episodes somewhere that I need to post and put online. The outfits are fantastic, and I learned a valuable lesson from that.
And you snuck in some definite PG jokes.
Oh boy, did I!
I loved it.
Yes. So, but I'm one of these
I'll always
dudes
remember the kid who was. There's some kid who gave some real sketchy answer that, like, it was like how he really loved his mom, and you said, "Oedipus Schmedipus, so long as you love your mother."
As long as you love your mother, right? Yeah, which is something my mom always says as a guy.
East Coast moms.
Oedipus Schmedipus, as long as you love your mother.
East Coast moms.
On a kid's game show. Yeah, it was a joke. It was a running gag. I mean, my mom used to sing me to sleep when I was a kid, singing songs out of Mad Magazine. So understand.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I was like,
it all makes sense. Yes, because I didn't know.
Oh, makes sense now.
She did the songs, yeah.
Right. So, anyways, you know that I packed all my stuff up, and like every 2 years, everybody was telling me to pack it in and go home.
Well, the bottom would fall out every 2 years.
Yeah, that's right. And like they knew it was any different from any other time. Like it was always. Right. I mean, it's like that. My experience of the 90s was kind of like the movie, 2012, the car chase in 2012. Like the car is just ahead of the collapse all the time. The ground is falling out.
Oh, yeah.
As the earth, caves
in.
And you're just gunning it and hoping you don't run out of road or a tree doesn't stop you. And that was it. And so I, am a forever optimist. You know why? Because it's a functional strategy that works. And in that, I know and I'm aware that there are a bunch of people who are going to be, hammering away on a regular interval. Probably, maybe they get orders every Thursday to hammer away on their keyboard, saying the Dems can't and they'll never. The Dems can't. And
I know. Thank you.
No matter how many times the Dems do and have.
Thank you.
I'm here to tell you it's a lot harder to be positive. And it's a lot harder to spread kindness. It is really easy to be a pessimist and to spread hate.
Oh my God, the hate goes so much further and faster than anything that is the truth.
Right. Everybody goes, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And they don't dogpile you for it. And I've been, Stephanie Miller's called me a happy clappy liberal for a very long time. And there's a reason for that. Because when the ACA came out, I fully backed it, and I was the one who read it on a show and talked about it and all those kind of things, and that was years ago. But all through this whole thing, as I've been telling people, that Dems can and do all the time.
All the time.
And the only time they're actually held back most of the time is when our side has held their nose, stayed home, not voted,
right,
left more than half of the decisions up to
Correct.
people who hate functioning government and do
Correct.
not want it to exist.
Anywhere.
And if it does function, it goes against their argument. It goes against their entire structure of running. So they have to sabotage everything to prove their own point that it wouldn't have worked anyways. Right? We hear this all the time. I mean, classically the Republican, the entire campaign argument of Republicans is government can't do anything right. Elect me and I'll prove it. And that has, as long as I've been alive, that, and
much longer than that, it has always worked.
From Reagan's, the worst thing,
right?
Right. The scariest word somebody can hear is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." Or, and that idea, while he was running to be president of the United States,
but that's not an idea that was only been around since Reagan. It's been around a lot longer than that.
Structural embarrassment.
It was
to a functioning party.
Part of what was the original
that should be
America
embarrassing
First.
To say now,
too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like. Think about that in the macro of it. The scariest thing anybody in a burning house can hear is, "I'm from the fire department and I'm here to help you." The scariest thing a hostage can hear is, "I'm from the Army or the Marines or from the police. I'm here to help you." The scariest, on and on. A drowning person. "I'm here with a life preserver and I'm here to help you." Like, that's what they're fighting against when they say those things. And no wonder if they feel that way about the emergency services, support for people who've been through hurricanes, or debt relief for people who have cancer, those kind of things. If they're against that, well, then of course they're going to pretend to be for highway repairs and then do everything they can to fight it. The joke of it is that during the Cold War, one of the things that Russia realized as far as what kind of military action they would have to take against the United States was just stand back. They're punching themselves in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2020 and 2019,
they made
2016 kind of proved
not to, there is.
But they just, there was a new gate that let them in.
Set off dirty bombs, sabotage nuclear silos in the United States, do all kinds of stuff. They were constantly thinking about trying to do it leading up in the 60s. And then it became abundantly clear in the late 70s as they were as the right was attacking Carter and turning a real channel, a real corner against the United States as a functioning entity, that the Russians were like, it was basically a game of chicken.
We can do this. We can play chicken. We can make sure of this.
Race, which they always had to chase. Or would we bankrupt our own society where we were no longer functional? That the hell with having actual factories in the country. How do you get anything you make in that factory to market if the roads are all broken down and can't take and the bridges can't take trucks anymore? So this is the Republican methodology. This is they are, quote, anti-central planning because they view this as a form of communism. Instead of, all functioning societies have done some kind of road planning, some type of military planning, some type of pushback.
Government itself is socialist. All it means is that we all agree that this government, or a huge percentage of us agree, that this government is what we want. That this is the way we'll live.
Back against infectious disease and all the other things that we do in our society.
Then this becomes part of what government does.
Those taxes and make a unilateral decision about where those taxes went. But we, in a democracy, together decide what the priority of those taxes should be. It's, it wasn't socialism when the king decided roads were worthwhile or armies were worthwhile, and it's not when we do it. And it's certainly not when there's an infectious disease and you have to do something about it, or it's going to tear through the country and kill everyone. And it's not wearing masks or helping everyone get vaccinated.
There is this mythology
for
that
all the reasons
the king
that seem abundantly clear. But the Democrats can do and are doing right now. And one of the things that everybody griped about was during the ACA was the fact that the Democrats were forced into a position, or felt they were forced into a position, where they had to ask for what they needed in the ACA, and in the negotiation they would get less than they needed, and ended up with the ACA as it stands. Now, notwithstanding, the ACA brought health insurance to 24 million people, and a lot of those people and their offsprings are alive today because of it.
Correct.
Let me repeat that to the pro-lifers that may be listening. Are alive
They're not
today,
pro-life
would
people,
have died without the ACA.
They're pro-white supremacists.
And by the way, if they'd had a public option, I'm not talking about Medicare for all, just a public option, they could have bought into a non-profit version of insurance that would have cost them a lot less. Guaranteed them coverage.
A lot less. Like $300 a month less. I'm not saying $300 less than you're paying currently. I'm saying $300 a month would have been the average premium for a high-end, high availability. Are you hearing what I'm saying? $300 a month. High-end, high availability. And that was like one of the things that they were saying would have been like, if you're like chronic disease, $300 a month, taken out in your taxes.
And use the extra money that they didn't have to pay on the higher premiums because the Trump administration, everybody was always going after the mandate, driving the prices up. They would have had extra money to put into their families, into their education, into their jobs, into their businesses.
They don't want educated people.
Because that ultimately is life, not just...
Because if you have educated people, they would not vote for them. They're finding that out. Have you noticed that?
Being living. And so the idea that Republicans are pro-life is all
complete and utter bullshit.
Always been a cartoon. It
is complete and utter bullshit because, I'm sorry, most of the Christians don't even believe in their own goddamn Bible because they haven't read the fucking thing. Oh, they say they have, but it seems like they've only read certain things in certain passages, and only, just like that Second Amendment where we keep forgetting about well-regulated militia. Well-regulated. We just skipped that line. But that's kind of what they do with the Bible. Oh, skip the fact that it was written by a king. Skip the fact that it's a bunch of stories put together. Skip all that crap. No.
Believe they want to actually...
Bullshit.
Serve in government.
Right.
Is an absurdity.
Right.
Because they want to shut it down.
They just want to get rid of it.
Increasingly, if you're Ron Johnson or Senator John Kennedy, who spent 4th of July of 2018
in Russia? With the white supremacists of Russia?
Question as to whether they want it shut down because of some sort of libertarian
bullshit
brain, or because
they're Russian agents.
Are desirous of some sort of payoff outside the country. That's a scary question to have to pose.
But why have they never been asked why they were in Russia on the 4th of July back then?
In Politico right now.
Nobody.
Different ball game. Dems vow they've learned Obamacare lessons in messaging of $1.7 trillion mega bill. Huge boost to the nation's safety net. And a looming midterm with the majority on the brink. A flood of GOP attack ads. That's where the House Democrats hope the similarities end between now and 2010. As they take their first pass at Joe Biden's $1.7 trillion social spending bill, House Democrats are gambling that its medley of popular family health care and climate proposals can steer them toward a radically different political fate than 11 years ago. And I agree. And the more forceful they are about it, and the more fearless they are about it,
the more they scream about it, the more they say everything they can about it, the better.
In America.
Yep.
Which I think is like
It seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anybody who has a house knows you have to keep maintenance up. Anybody who has a new child knows that you might need another room. And in America, when it comes to America, this is, democratically speaking, this is the only house we got.
Thank you.
And Democrats are treating it like a family with a mortgage that plans on sticking around. And
for a long time,
want to treat it like an apartment where they can, patch the holes in the wall with toothpaste just so they can get their security deposit back.
Thank you.
Leave in the middle of the night. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. We have to talk about Italy when we come back. We must talk about Italy.
To me, Corona means Italy.
When we come back, it's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago.
Mega Worldwide. Hold on. And say bye-bye to that.